Hello friends, welcome to my channel Clinical Biochemistry with Dr. P.K. Prabhakar. Today we are going to see the chemistry behind the flower aroma from flower smell. So every flower, normally this is the spring season and we are going to see different types of different variety of flowers in our garden, in our nursery. So and every flower is having their own specific aroma, their specific smell. So why do these flowers smells? What is the reason behind this smell? So many people love the fragrance of the sweet smelling flowers, but our enjoyment of these pleasant odor is just a bonus. If you see scientifically speaking, the smell of flower emits is intended to attract the insects and birds that will normally fertilize the flowers or pollinate the flowers. Plants rely on the pollinating animals, including insects, birds, bats, and other different kind of small creatures, to transfer the pollen grains from one flower to the other flower, and so that it will be fertilized. And normally, fruits will going to happen. So, when a bee or another insect visit a flower, it picks up the pollen grains. As these pollinators continue visiting to other flowers to drink their nectars or gather pollen grains, they deposit the pollen from the previous flowers to this new flower, next flowers, which then fertilize them. Some flowers use winds or simply gravity to add their pollinations, but many plants rely on the pollinators like insects, birds, bats, and other animals. That is why the smell comes in. Flower produce fragrance to help attract these pollinators. These birds, these insects can be attracted toward this smell. And one of the surprising thing is no two flower emits the same fragrance in the nature. According to the Scientific American Journal, that is because scents are created by a variety of volatile organic compounds. These the amount of these compounds and how they interact with each other is what creates a particular specific aroma or fragrance. Plants normally tends to emit the most fragrance during the daytime because normally daytime insects, birds, and creatures will pollinate them. So normally these fragrance emits into the daytime. Flower that uses butterfly and bees are pollinators are most fragrant during the day, whereas some of the plants that are pollinated by moths are mostly fragrant at the night, because moths comes they do into the night. So some flower rely on one particular type of insects for pollinations, so their scents is very scientifically aimed at the attracting that particular specific insects. And last thing is, not all flowers emits a sweet smelling odor. There are some plants which is whose smell will be, fragrance will be very awful. Like one of the example is cough flower. As you might expect, based on its name, the cough flower emits a noxious odor that is like a rotten fish like a smell. The horrible smell of this cough flower may be turned off for humans, but it has a purpose. What is the purpose? Cough flowers are trying to attract carrion beetles or flesh flies, because these two animals, like these two carrion beetles and flesh flies, normally comes on the rotten things, and they helps them into the normally in the pollinators. So this is the reason why they are normally having different kind of specific fragrance. Now we are going to see the specific flower and what is the chemical, what is the biochemistry behind their specific fragrance. The first flower is roses, and normally everyone loves the roses. Their scents are majorly influenced by the compound named after the flower, like that is cis rose oxide, which you are going to see on the top. This molecule is a particular isomer of rose oxide which has 4 different isomers, and that one which contributes is typically flower rose fragrance. So the most important is the first one, that is cis rose oxide, other than beta dasmocenon and beta ionone. These are other compounds which is responsible for the fragrance of roses. The second important flower is violets. These violets are perhaps less common in the bouquet than the roses and the carnations, but perhaps much more interesting from their aroma perspective. Their scents is primarily caused by the presence of the compound called ionones. So it will be alpha ionones, beta ionones, or beta dihydroionones. So this is mainly because of the ionones. Then we are having carnations. The carnations too are a common component in the floral bouquets, and in comparison to the roses, their scents is much fainter. Means it is slightly, you can call it not that much strong is fragrance will be there. It will have light fragrance. The major aroma chemical that makes this scent is eugenol, beta caryophyllene, and benzoic acid derivatives. So eugenol, beta caryophyllene, methyl salicylate, and these are some of the compounds which is responsible for the fragrance of the carnations. Then we are having the next flower is lilies. Their compounds, normally their compositions is varied across the different species, because we are with many different variety of lilies are present. So their fragrance is also going to vary, and mostly it will be because of the beta ocimene and linalool are the major component for their aroma. So it is linalool, beta ocimines, and myrcene that is responsible for the lilies fragrance. Then we are having hyacinth. The hyacinth, this is the picture of hyacinth. In this case, we are having major components. Three components are particularly contributed to the scents of the hyacinth. Ocimenol has a scent described as flesh and citrusy, whilst cinnamyl alcohol they has a balsamic odor, and last compound, that is an ethyl 2 methoxybenzoate, adds a floral fruity essence to the smell. So these three compounds responsible for the fragrance of the hyacinth. Then we are having chrysanthemum. In chrysanthemum mainly there are some of the terpenoid derivatives. So terpene compounds such as alpha pinene, eucalyptols, camphor, and borneols have all been found in different variety of the different species. So compound named after the chrysanthemum themselves are also present, like chrysanthenone and chrysanthenyl acetate are both the contributors. Other than that one, alpha pinene and eucalyptol, they are also responsible for the essence of chrysanthemum. Then we are having lilacs. Lilacs is another flower which lends their name in the chemical compound that their aroma contains. E-beta ocimines is the major component for their fragrance, but other than that one, they are having lilac aldehyde and lilac alcohol also, which is responsible for their fragrance. So this is all about roughly 10 flowers and what is the contributor, what is the major compound which is contributor of their specific fragrance, and what is the why flowers have fragrance. So we have seen this one. So this is all about for today. If you like the video, press the like button. If you are not subscribed my channel, you can subscribe it. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.